Ladies and gentlemen, this is the First Circuit Podcast, episode number 52. Your hosts today are Byter. Say hello, Byter.
Hello, Byter.
There we go. Larsh. Say hello, Larsh.
Hello, Larsh.
And Old Bob. Say hello, Old Bob.
Hello, Bob.
And of course, there's me, Ian. As for topics today, currently we have Saturday. Sadly, the patch notes and the NGNG podcast about the faction warfare discussion are both being pushed back to Monday. So we're going to discuss those in the future. Keep tuned in for that. Which means today we've got some minor stuff going on right now. The sale, the faction warfare event. The Vulcan is coming up on Tuesday with the August patch. We have some more info about the August patch. We can get it from the roadmap. And of course, the big topic for today is the public test server version 2.0, where a new method to nerfing laser vomit is tested. So first topic is gonna be the sale. Again, Byter, you're good at this. Take it over.
All right. So again, PGI always doing their sales. I'm not too infused with this sale. At least it's if you buy a bunch of MC, you get extra GXP and C bills, which is enough for skill points. I think that's mostly it.
Yeah.
Like if you purchase MC and or gift MC, then there's these little reward items. This is somewhat tied in with the faction warfare event, at least thematically. The bigger thing, at least in my mind, is just the faction patterns and decals and colors and cockpit items are all 50% off right now.
That's pretty cool.
So if you are huge, I think I certainly showed Davian. Davian and Steiner.
Davian and Steiner.
Yeah. If you're a fan of those, then this is your time to pick up, I don't know, Davian Warhorn, because you haven't picked up one yet. Or Davian paint schemes or Steiner paint schemes, if you like them.
Also take note, the one-shot patterns are also 50% off, which means you can get the one-shot faction patterns fairly cheap.
Yeah, those are real cheap.
If you want those, now's a good time.
I don't know if it's a wedding gift if you actually have to purchase the items. I don't know if that's a good wedding gift though. That's not a wedding I want to go to, especially if I'm Lao or I could think, oh, here's a gift. Here's Lao.
I know a lot. I mean, this whole wedding event is a little bit of a reskin, but imagine if it was simply purchase a faction skin. Like it was sort of like a wedding list. Like how some people have a list of items they want for the wedding.
Yeah,
it's a wedding registry.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you did that, that would be kind of cool. Just like if you buy a faction pattern, we'll give you this extra stuff. If you buy one of the faction warhorns, we'll give you this extra stuff. So it incentivizes people on top of the regular stuff to, 50% off, and you get extra when you buy items in the store.
That would be pretty cool.
And also, to tie into Bob's comment, if you visit this wedding as a Liao, make sure to take all of the plates with you.
Yes, you gotta take
That's when your Lord joke
all the
for
silverware.
today.
Bring a knife too, because you're gonna need it. Trying to get off the planet.
All faction items for Liao are 50% more, and we take items C-bills away from them.
Oh god.
Amazing.
Oh dude. As far as the reward items, yeah, they're okay. The GXP and the 4.1, 4.1 like million. I guess for us, we have all that stuff, especially like C-bills. I'm still struggling with C-bills, but the GXP I have enough though. But I still would like the MC added to that. Might be an idea. I don't know. That's one thing that I would have, like 30% more, like like MC or something.
You know what? This is kind of random. I would almost like it if they gave away free skill point nodes or like skill points.
Well, that's what the GXP is for.
Yeah.
And the 4.1.
GXP and the C-bills are put together enough for if you spend $30, you're getting basically enough skill points to get 4 mechs fully skilled out, without having to spend any time in game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still cool you get stuff, don't get me wrong, but I do like your ideas about the, if you buy a faction pattern, you get another Warhorn or something like that. Plus, for $7 you get a Warhorn, the faction pattern, and the skill points and all that kind of stuff might be a cool idea than just separate, though.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well, it's, I mean, this is just another sale. They always have to have sales now, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on though to the big wedding event the faction warfare event. You're invited.
Oh
Oh,
my
I was
god,
invited.
faction warfare.
Another food pellet.
It says
Or
good.
as
and-
someone called it yesterday, community warfare, because apparently that's still what people use.
Yeah, right. Going old
Yeah, I
school.
know.
But
God.
on their invite it says there will be cake and presents. I've seen neither.
Cake. The cake is a lie.
The cake is a
Well, the-
lie.
Well, the presents are the
If there's
challenges
any-
they give you all, and they give you the extra stuff.
But where's the cake?
Now, here's a question: Are there any cockpit items that are cakey or presenty?
There are
is there-
are they,
cupcakes.
yes.
There are cupcakes.
There's definitely the anniversary muffin.
Yeah.
I
I
think
know for like
there's
Christmas,
pie.
isn't there Christmas presents?
Mhm.
Yeah.
My question though is, any of these? Is there a sale on it? Because it's only for faction items.
Hmm.
That'd be
Anyway,
fun.
I was just, I just tried to put more creativity into these things, but
Yeah.
a lot of it was at least just shortly before, like they told us the event's coming, but it took them a while to actually put all the details onto the thing
Hmm.
when we know. So it's at least the impressions we got on PGI is a lot of them are away on holiday during the summer, so they're sort of running around all over the place trying to throw things together, I think.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the faction event. So it's just like the last two faction events. Every day, do a bunch of stuff, and you get MC cockpit items, and it's a different game mode each time. So assault, conquest, domination, etc., etc.
Yeah.
What I'm kind of glad at least they've also added personal challenges which go over the entire week. So you don't feel like you have to play every day and do all the stuff in those days. Instead, there's longer term goals where you can still get, some extra stuff on top, even if you're only playing for one day.
And
Okay.
stuff you can get in scouting.
Sorry. go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah.
Scott, yeah.
As long as you're not playing with another street
Yeah.
Katara and takes all the
Yeah.
KMDTs.
Yeah.
As long as you're playing on your own. Otherwise, people are gonna steal your kills.
Hmm.
Actually, that does bring into the personal challenges as far as when you do play this faction warfare. Normally, you have decks set to all the serious people, not like us, but normal serious people. They have their decks set for. I have 3 heavies. I have 3 assaults and 1 light. The kind of thing. They have certain specific ones. Now, with the personal challenges, what I'm noticing is, I've noticed this last night. A lot of people actually were just using all medium mechs just to get that personal challenge, like without actually having a specific type of deck to go and complete, like to actually win the game per se. They just want to get the challenges, and it always happens during events. And I think they should have probably knocked that out, or just took that out though, because on that though.
It's an interesting thing, actually, with the personal challenges. If you look through it, they're encouraging you to take a range of mechs, lights, mediums, heavies, and assaults. They're also encouraging you to take AMS at least a little bit, so you shoot down 100 missiles.
Yeah.
There's shoot down an enemy UAV. There's get UAV lock damage. They're encouraging you to do energy weapons, ballistic weapons, missile weapons. The weirdest one is like earn one first capture, and I think this is the worst designed of the lot, because that can only be done in Conquest. Now, the way they've done it though is each day has a different game mode, and it's not random. So it's always, if it's the day for assault, it's always assault. If it's the day for skirmish, it's always skirmish. First captures only for Conquest. So this week-long challenge has one particular reward that can only be attained if you play the second day on Saturday.
Yeah, so if you miss that,
Or
you
the
kind of
second
miss
last day.
out.
Oh
Yeah. I do not think that's a good idea. And like I said last night, where I was, you have specific decks you bring into the games to win the game, and of course, we don't care about that. But having a light mechs, you rarely have light mechs unless you have like 3 assaults and then a 20-ton mech or something, right? I haven't done I haven't done decks for a long time.
The thing with the drop decks, at least, is if you have a lot of mechs, it's fairly easy to kit out a deck with, an assault, a couple heavies, and maybe a light. And next time you'll mix it up, you'll have 3 heavies and a medium, something like that. You could totally mix and match if you have lots of mechs, but a lot of players might just be an assault mech player, and they don't really have mechs to fill out the lower tonnages.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
might, if you only got the 4 starting mech bays, it's really hard to do to build a drop deck, A, and B, make sure it's all of each one of each category.
Yeah. But I would say on the flip side, for those of us who have a lot of mech bays and who've been playing the game for a lot, I mean, we played last night for about roughly 3 or 4 hours, and man, like, I had a blast playing this last night.
I had a blast too, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thoroughly enjoy these faction warfare events.
I
like how
enjoy-
I
Sorry,
like
go
how Larsh said that so deadpan. I love these factions.
Well, my voice is also kind of dead from shouting last night too, and drinking booze. So that's also the other side where, okay, so I could ramp up my hype a lot more and be like, yay, but then my voice is gonna crack and I'll be like, I'm like, 15 again. So it's not gonna work out for the podcast.
Oh,
Yeah, but for reals though, like now, people might not agree with me, but I kind of like faction warfare a little bit more than quick play if people can get a big enough group for it.
Blasphemy.
I know, but I
Yeah.
like the idea of having like a 4-mech drop deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, like I had a lot of fun last night too, and I still have my reservations. I mean, like one of the things is, like I always bring this up, descriptions on planets that we're fighting on, at least, please,
That'll
please,
always be
I'll do
our
it for
major
free.
gripe.
For free, I will do it for free. I'll spend my own time. I have no time. I'll spend my own time and do it. But certain things, it serves no purpose. It's really bad, like in content. But it's fun. It's fun to play, especially with you guys. I had a blast playing that. Even when we lost, I'm like, hey, that was an interesting game. I was bitching a little bit, but
Oh, there's
the last game.
that one match, or the like giant wave of dragons.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty interesting.
That was
and that was
amazing.
that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was
I
really
mean,
cool.
I mean, we got stomped, but I was like, well played. You fucking played
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen a lot worse, but
Oh, yeah.
that actually, in the end we traded fairly well. I mean,
Yeah.
we took
Mhm.
out 75% of their mechs or so. So
Mhm.
I've seen a lot worse. Like a team is just so bad they get pushed all the way back into spawn, and people are on their first or second mechs, and that's it. So your
Oh,
team
wow.
get, it's
I
like
have seen that, yeah.
48
I've seen that too a
to
long time
6
ago.
kills. So yeah, we did all right.
But it's
Yeah.
kind of sad though that it takes food pellets to get people into faction warfare, because it's not really done to the way it should have been of what it was originally like designed for. But if you got enough people going into it, I think faction warfare can actually make it. It's just it needs some more hype than what it actually has now.
Yeah, because
I think
yeah.
well, I think just to cut off this conversation a little, I'm
Mhm.
afraid,
Sure,
is
go
that
ahead.
No Guts No Galaxy is doing a podcast about faction warfare, where they're talking about their plans to rejuvenate the mode, and
Good.
we'll certainly have a lot to talk about that
True.
when it comes out. So I
Yeah.
think this is something we'll be covering in the future in plenty of detail. So we
Yep.
don't want to get too sidetracked.
True. Just
Okay,
waiting
so
on that
obviously-
podcast, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do we have anything really to add about the challenges for this?
No, I
faction
think
warfare
pretty
event?
much log in, play some faction warfare, get some free swag, as always, kind of like last weekend. Go ahead and enjoy it, play it.
I do enjoy what they did with the lore. That's cool. That's really, really cool. I definitely like what they're doing with this, and they hit it out the park with that.
Now, I want to see an actual ceremony of people
Yes.
from PGI and cosplay and recording a live
Larsh,
wedding.
yes, we want
that
Bring it now.
recording does exist.
What?
There was an actual wedding. I believe it was Gen Con, like
Really?
30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, man.
There are definitely pictures on the forum, and you might be able to find a recording.
Oh, I'll be doing
I
it
don't
later.
actually know,
That would
but
be
there are
good, man.
pictures. I've seen the pictures.
That's awesome.
That's
Oh,
cool.
And they had a really delicious looking cake.
Good. There was cake.
Yeah, well,
All right,
And the loud
so-
representatives sitting in the corner going, "Oh shit! Oh no! What am I
Oh
gonna do?"
noes. All right, so let's move on here. So the next item up for bid is the Vulcan. That's coming up. If you're listening to the podcast
So-
on Monday, this is coming out tomorrow.
Yep, Tuesday patch. A lot of what we discuss will be speculation, but obviously, yeah, Vulcan is having its countdown going on, but we haven't been too fond of the Vulcan thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think whenever we
it's
talked
an
about it
anti-infantry mech
last.
and an anti-mech game. That's basically the conclusion we've had the past couple of podcasts.
Yeah, because I'm going over the hard points again just to do a refresh, and if I recall last time we talked about this, it was like the first three you would get in Mech Pack, they were all very similar in nature, and it was like,
Yeah.
Actually, we haven't been excited about most of the new mech packs coming out though, huh?
Well, the
really haven't
Vulcan,
been.
Incubus, and Champion were all kind of samey, but the Vapor
Yeah.
Eagle, I think we were quite keen on that because it
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
varied up the hard points and had way more interesting stuff going on for
And
it.
it looks good.
Yeah, that one looks really nice.
Yeah, true. But yeah, the Vulcan,
But we'll see, and like
We'll have to-
I still
Yeah,
think that. Sorry, I still
the
think
delay
they.
hurts us.
I think they missed their mark on the release date because I mean Scarecrow they could have done for Halloween. Just saying. They could have waited one month for that. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I think though they have a strict, at least a production schedule, and you can't just suddenly switch around the Incubus and the Vulcan. Particularly also, at least with promises, I'm not sure. At least on if people are paying money and they say, "I paid for the Vulcan and you said it was shipping August, but you delayed it for a month so that you could do a Halloween theme."
Yeah.
You're into some more sketchy kind of territory, and at least consumer territory.
Granted, the Incubus is a demon as far as I'm aware, so I guess it still works.
Yeah, it's
could
true.
work. I mean, you could sort of justify a lot of the mechs, like a champion walks in, you don armor and walk around as a knight during Halloween. Yeah, that'll work.
That sounds like a joke. Champion walks into a bar.
Champion walks into a bar during Halloween.
We need to come up with a joke now. I'm gonna do that after the podcast.
Yeah. We're horrible with on-the-fly jokes because, like, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I need time, but I'm gonna come up with one.
We need lore jokes.
Don't worry. We'll leave an empty gap here where we can put Ian's in saying, "As he said this."
Just pause it, just edit it, and just to have like previously recorded, just monotone voice joke.
Yeah. He does it monotone, and then we all have very stock-sounding laughter.
Perfect.
Nice.
So I guess if you're listening to this podcast before the patch, keep an eye out for the countdown to the Vulcan. I hope it's gonna be updated, but currently we don't see anything on there.
Yeah, because all they have now are the badges.
We don't need the stinking badges. I mean, when's the last time you actually changed your badge? I'm just curious.
Not
Doing
often.
closed beta when I got my veteran badge.
I mean, since you can kind of barely even see the badge in game, I never really change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't changed it in a while. I think I I changed it when the Piranha came out, so I have a fishy badge.
Oh,
but it's so hard to see.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
It would be really cool if they made these badges into decals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, because you get the badge, if you want to showcase it, you could just have a giant fishy on your back.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly, you can only put them on the mech that it came with.
Or only have the badges like inside caches. Like only the major ones or something like that. For a decal.
Well, I don't mind. If you buy mech packs, having this exclusive decal, quote unquote exclusive, is
true.
a fine enough quote unquote a reward, and it might finally make this countdown thing. Like the first day, it's always such an anticlimax. Like, oh, there's new news, countdown to the Vulcan. Let's see what's got. Oh, badges.
I know.
Yeah, so I think it'd be kind of cool that you could have a exclusive decal to put on your mech because you paid the money to get it. I don't know.
I mean, looking at these badges, they are actually kind of cool designs. And if you had a really good collector's badge, that would incentivize people to buy the collector's pack so they could have that decal.
That'd be super cool. I might tweet that to Russ later because I really want that to happen now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so
marketing,
anyway, but
marketing.
Marketing. Well, no, I mean, super cool. But anyway, so the Vulcan, not really a whole lot to go over until later on when it comes out on Tuesday. Do you guys just want to get into the meat of the last two things we got slated here?
Well, let's cover the roadmap, because the roadmap is all we have, at least right now, before the patch notes have come out to sort of go on, which of course says the Vulcan is coming out. There's also some weapon retrofits and bolt-on retrofits. So more mechs are getting their weapons properly represented, and they can actually have bolt-ons, I guess. Woo. Bigger thing though they mentioned is a so the trial mechs.
Yeah, they're gonna redo the trial mechs.
Weapon retrofits. Oh, that's probably just actually them retrofitting the mechs.
They're putting racks on, and
like racks and MRM and all that. Rocket launchers.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but the trial mechs were slated to be changed for August. So, RIP Nova AMS mech. So, oh no. But
did you do that mech though, Larsh? Did you do that mech? That's a really cool mech.
Thanks,
Everyone,
Bob.
check out that mech. It's really
no one else knows about that. No, but there really haven't been many updates to the trial mech update. It's not like the last time where the player base could vote for trial mechs, which I was a little upset because I really wanted to make a new mech for a trial mech to get voted on. So
that'd be kind of cool.
Well, that's how it went last time. Is that people in the forums, they would submit their builds, and then it was the populace voted on them, which I thought was kind of neat. But I don't know. We'll see what they come out, if they come out at all, since we know that PGI has been fairly busy with vacations and other personal things because summer, people go away to places, so work is like they can get to it when they can, I guess. PGI is also a fairly small-ish company compared to other game developers, so
yeah, we're not expecting too much, but at least in name it sounds like it could have been something they planned that would be a bit more interesting than just what we have right now. But who knows? It could just have been switching up the mechs, so we'll have to wait.
And if that's the case,
see, that'll be next podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like today's podcast, a lot of it is until next time, because there's a lot of many of loose threads on this one. So,
well, if the podcast and patch notes came out in time, like usual, we would have so much to talk about. But
true.
It is what it is. And the last thing in the roadmap, at least was covered to get through this, would be the bonus item for the 2018 Tournament Supporter Pack is at least due in August. Now, we haven't heard very much about this at all, and we have absolutely no clue what they're doing. And I wonder if they remember it at all, if they'll bring it out in the patch notes.
Yeah, they will, hopefully.
Yeah, them calling it a bonus item sounds like, ooh, a warhorn or something. Ooh.
It's probably a cool warhorn that they'll pop out.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
I hope, just is my personal preference, instead of like we've had bagpipes, now I want a kazoo.
Oh god.
To play when I get a kill. That would be great.
And what's that like Australian thing that they use? Is that the kazoo?
Didgeridoo? No, kazoo.
No, didgeridoo. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Didgeridoo. But kazoo's this little kind of buzzy thing.
Okay. Didgeridoo, then I want that one.
Didgeridoo.
Yeah.
That's kind of like it's like a ram's horn, war horn. It's kind of similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And for today's big topic is they're doing a new PTS. They announced it and said it's up immediately. So at least how many days is it going on for? Let's see, Friday to
I don't know actually. So,
okay. It's coming out. It's ending roughly when this podcast comes out. So yeah, just a couple of days for people, like the weekend, basically, for people to play it.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
They usually don't run the PTSs very long, but I must admit, like they're trying to pull everyone towards faction warfare, but they're also trying to pull the most dedicated players towards the PTS. Like doing both of these at once doesn't seem wise, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well,
so they're trying to reduce the shutdown threshold and increase dissipation. That's interesting. That's gonna stop a lot of actually laser vomit boats.
Yeah, so this particular patch is going a very different way about balance. What they've been doing before with the clan laser vomit, that huge laser vomit alpha, was just affecting clan laser weapons, which have generally not been a well-received change. And
Nope.
as I've been arguing, it doesn't seem like it really actually solved the problem. Not only that, they were really hitting hard a lot of clan lasers that weren't even really seeing play. I just don't know what they had against like weapons like the poor large pulse laser. With this though, they're hitting to what we and what Sean talked about a bit in the No Guts No Galaxy podcast and our own podcast. Heat, heat being the big issue that mechs have very large heat thresholds. They have very good heat dissipation, at least particularly the clan mechs with their XL engines and smaller double heat sinks. So they're able to play with a lot of heat. They're able to dissipate a lot of heat, and with cool shots, really powerful cool shots, they're able to really downplay the weaknesses of laser vomit, which is why it's seen so much play, particularly after the skill tree.
Yeah.
The changes they're suggesting is to cap the heat threshold at 40. So every mech has a heat threshold of just 40 heat. You can't buff it with heat sinks, no matter how. If you have 30 heat, if you have 40, 50 single heat sinks, it doesn't matter. Your cap is 40 heat. So if you imagine in the sphere mech with 4 PPCs, you fire the ball and you reach 100%. Well, you have to fire 2 and then 2, and you'll be at 99% because you dissipated some slightly along the way.
Yeah.
And there's a little resting heat because of the map, so you actually might shut down. Anyway, yeah, you only have 40 heat to play with, so this radically limits, particularly with hot weapon systems, the amount of firepower you can front load. So how much heat does that, the Hellbringer Meta Vomit generate right now? I'm pretty sure it's probably more than like 40 heat. Or
I'm
it's
sure it
140.
is, yeah.
2 heavy large and then and 4 ER mediums. I don't know how much that is, like off the top of my head.
I mean, 2 heavy large, right? It's 17 heat each, so that's 34 heat. Of your 34 heat of your 40 capacity. So you throw a 2 heavy large and a small laser, and you're 100% with a clan mech.
So that's what they plan to do then, huh? Just go ahead and like bring down the 40, and then what? You shut down right then, or what?
So
I always remember the changes for the public test are overstated.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely to be 40, even if they go with this route. But
yeah, 40
I need to test it. I want to see this.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. So, okay, first, your heat threshold is capped at 40. Second, though, to help mitigate this, they are changing the heat dissipation mechanics. So all double heat sinks in particular are true doubles. Before, the 10 heat sinks in your engine only dissipated 0.2 heat per second, whereas the rest did the usual like 0.15-ish heat. So now all of them are 0.2. So your heat cap is getting knocked down a peg, and your heat dissipation is getting knocked up a peg, at least in general.
I can get behind this, yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. So this, of course, affects all the different various weight categories. So if we talk about lights, for example, they are going to lights only have about the 10 heat sinks to start with. It's really hard to shove in an extra 10 heat sinks into a light mech, because that's like a third of your weight or half your weight even. So for them, they had like the 30 base heat plus the heat from double heat sinks, which got you up to like 40 or 50-ish. So this is only a slight nerf for their heat capacity, and their dissipation is mostly the same. So
like light mechs. Sorry.
Yeah. So the light mechs, I think they're getting a bit of a nerf, at least on the PTS, in terms of their heat threshold. However, their dissipation is staying mostly the same. So the biggest thing this would affect is probably clan, like Innisphere and clan laser vomit Innisphere mechs. If you're taking a Wolfhound with medium pulse lasers, you have less heat to work with, and your heat dissipation is just as good as it was before, basically.
So it's gonna like almost equal out. I mean, what do you think?
On the smaller mechs, bigger mechs though, when you have more heat sinks, it's a very different game, particularly assault mechs on the opposite side of the spectrum. If you think of the Kodiak 5 as the one with all the energy hard points, you know, any of the clan laser vomit assaults, they only have 40 points of heat to play with, which means, you know, before you could do like, you know, 2 heavy large plus 4 mediums, and you have like 30 heat sinks or something crazy like that, and you're able to keep that going fairly well. You know, it's okay. With this though, you fire the 2 heavy large and you reach heat cap. But all those extra heat sinks you have, so if you have, let's say, you know, 25 heat sinks, the 15 you have are, you know, 33% better now.
There we go.
Yeah, so what it's changing is it means it's pushing people towards, at least in the bigger mechs, having more consistent damage, i.e. missiles, ballistics typically, where you pump out the damage and you just keep pumping it out because you don't want to front load the damage. If you front load the damage, you generate a lot of heat all at once, and you might just shut down, particularly at least with a large alpha strike, particularly with lasers. So this is a huge debuff to larger mechs in general, I would say.
Interesting. I would actually say for larger mechs, this is fairly balanced in my opinion. It just shifts the focus, which I really like. I do, however, see it as a direct nerf to light mechs compared to their larger opponents. Especially in a sphere light mechs, like you mentioned the Wolfhound. Like, if you change his threshold without improving his dissipation, because it doesn't have that many external heat sinks, it's gonna perform worse, right?
Well, light mechs still have the heat dissipation for all the light mechs. I know the urban mech has plus 13, so that you know they still have that, but maybe they want to up that just a little bit, another 2% or something like that could actually help it.
Yeah, that might be a good route here.
That would just be an idea, I guess. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's a very interesting change. It does much more strongly reinforce the role of heat mechanics as a balancing tool in the game. Currently, it's kind of, as I've been saying, slightly broken. At least that's the biggest problem with laser vomit. Its main downside is supposed to be heat, but if you play right, you can really mitigate the problems with heat. In this, though, there's just no getting around it. At least you fire those 2 heavy larges, and you've maxed out your bar almost as a clan laser vomit mech. So if you're firing 2 heavy larges, that's all you can do, I think.
Ooh, that's really going to change a whole lot.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is a huge radical departure, and that's why I wish we had more time to sort of experiment with this for them to get data to see how well the bigger mechs are, particularly since it's 4v4s with everyone taking the bigger mechs typically on the PTS. So we'll totally see how this affects the bigger guys.
Well, plus everyone uses like the override too, so everybody uses override. So this is going to really screw a lot of mechs up.
Possibly. There's a fun thing, at least because cool shots are exactly the same. So if you only have 40 heat capacity, but you pop a cool shot, that's like you're adding. Let's just imagine your bar is up to 40, but you're adding an extra 14, 17 or whatever after you put the skill tree into it. So your heat cap is effectively with cool shots, 50, 60 heat cap anyway. That's still a lot better than before, where you would have a mech with the 30 base plus, like 20, 30, and then you add the thing on top, so you got like 70 heat cap. You had a huge amount of heat to play with before. This really limits the amount of heat people will have. I imagine there's a lot of things that would need to be changed if this change to heat mechanics would come into play. Laser vomit is obviously going to be hugely affected by this, a lot more than others, meaning you might want to lower the heat of all laser weapons so you can at least put a half decent alpha out. There's also things like the skill tree. Cool Run, at least with the more dissipation available, is a lot more valuable. And how will heat containment need to be changed? Because that adds 15%. It changes your cap from 40 to 46. So operations tree in general might become a lot more valuable since you have so much less heat to play with. Having 6 extra heat is just every little bit helps when you're in a much more starved economy for heat.
Yeah.
Which again emphasizes the skill tree that the player has to decide what he wants, and I think that's really good.
That's pretty crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And you do bring up a point about actually bringing down the heat for the weapons to actually coincide with this. That they're going to have to do that because everything's just going to be on the field shut down.
Yeah, heat plays a big role into everything, and even though I say it's broken right now, it is sitting in a certain place. If you if you change the heat cap to 30 and keep everything else the same, obviously
Yeah.
it changes everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think at least if you have the time, this is totally something to check out, and I very much applaud this change in direction, changing the heat mechanics, making them relevant, and thus therefore actually making the downside of laser weapons, a point, is a much better way of going about things.
Yeah, and considering that I really didn't even dabble in the last PTS, I think I'm gonna play around with this one.
This is way more interesting than we've
way
increased
more.
the duration of clan lasers by 0.2 seconds. Oh,
So-
wow! I really want to see how this laser feels now.
So Ian, so I'm saying you and I should go in with like just 2 Lerm mechs into the PTS.
So you meaning I'm gonna provoke a bit less aggression towards me? Oh
Yeah,
god,
that's
that's funny.
very interesting. Like,
yeah.
if you lower the heat cap enough, it would be very interesting. Like, if you're on a 100-tonner, you don't necessarily want to run an all laser vomit mech. You might want to run, like you said, sort of like couple lerms for long range,
Yeah.
a couple of mid-range weapons for
Hold
mid-range.
on, you just said
and
the
a couple
word.
SRM.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that word. You can't say that
Hey,
word.
what you
for,
mean
assault
bringing in
mechs.
like an Atlas with a Lerm on it?
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
yeah, I'm having a stroke.
Hemorrhage.
Well,
Oh.
if you limit the total heat people have to play with more, you might see bracket builds a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes, I love that
Oh
shit.
god, real builds.
I really,
I would
yeah,
love that.
right? Real builds for once. This is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I actually might play with this too, just to kind of like do some notes on it.
Well,
And go, oh, this would be
maybe
kinda cool.
for the podcast when this comes out, all 4 of us should group up and try it out.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah, there we
I'm
go.
up for that.
Okay,
Cool.
that's the first half of the most interesting part of
Yeah.
the PTS.
Now the other chunk.
Before we move on, I would like to
mhm.
add one more thing that
Sure.
Go ahead.
that I just kind of glanced over before the podcast.
Mhm.
Single heat sinks are now basically obsolete. So there was a stat I've seen earlier. Before this change, there was a certain point where it would be more worth to take single heat sinks over double heat sinks.
Mhm.
Certain number, I think 30 something. With this
Yeah.
change, single heat sinks basically have no value. So unless
Yeah.
you really need those extra couple slots, there's absolutely no reason you should take single heat sinks anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe if
Yeah,
I make a
yeah.
heat neutral build and then I just want crit padding.
Well, that's the fun thing with single heat sinks. Before, they had a lot of crit padding, and they really boosted your capacity if you are able to invest the tonnage, because at least relative to the space, they could really stack up the heat capacity, which meant like I had a grasshopper that could fire 8 ER mediums with the ghost heat penalty and be almost heat neutral on cold maps, because it just had so much dissipation and so much capacity. I just had so much heat to play around with single heat sinks. But with this change, the extra heat capacity, which is somewhat the creeping value singles need to rely on to be relevant, is gone. And with that being gone, they're just trying to catch up to doubles and dissipation, and that's a battle they just don't win, because half of their value has been stripped away completely.
Which, however, is the wage. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I do wish singles to have some sort of relevant point in the game. I do like them having this one niche application, and it would be kind of funny if singles did actually add to your capacity and doubles didn't.
That'd be
I know
interesting.
it's a wonky change, but it would mean like there would actually be a choice. It's like, do I want more capacity but much worse dissipation, or do I want really good dissipation but a capped capacity?
Ooh, the amount of math you got to figure out for that, then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
choices.
well,
Yeah.
it would mean you'd have 2 different directions you build down. Like you're looking for a build that slowly builds heat, and you're hoping to, have plenty of capacity. It doesn't really matter, or you have a build that is looking to dissipate the heat mostly neutrally, or has a good sustained DPS.
But keeping at
That'd
that
be
40
interesting.
cap. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I think we have just enough time here to go over the last bit of this update, which was mobility changes. There's going to be a lot. I don't think we're going to be able to go over all of them.
No.
Oh well, the basic point I would say is that No Guts, No Galaxy again. They did mention stuff like a lot of mechs like the Atlas with the engine desync. They really fell out of favor because they couldn't torso twist like they used to. A lot of the mechs feel really sluggish, and a lot of them are really lagging behind, and people just don't take the agility tree. So, quite rightly, I think PGI have acknowledged it. Agility should be buffed up a bit, particularly for the underperformers. And I think most of these are somewhat underperforming, though. Like there's mechs like the Annihilator here.
There's the Vipers in here too.
Yeah. Do you guys know why they actually brought this back in though? Like, is it a pure pressure type thing or what?
I don't know. Like I don't know all the reasoning behind this PTS, but all I can say is at least the heat changes and the mobility changes are things that were brought up in the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast, and those are the points I thought that had the most merit. So at least for me, that's the line I'm drawing.
That's the line you're drawing.
Well, that's the line. Yeah, the line I'm connecting, the dots I'm connecting.
Yeah.
That's all I can say on the matter, because otherwise it's like previous discussions on the PTS was everyone talking about clan lasers and what numbers we needed to change. Does increasing the duration really affect the lasers? Let's discuss in detail. Well, that doesn't necessarily lead to mobility buffs like it so directly. Though obviously increasing mobility increases your ability to twist damage.
I mean, like looking at some of these, I really don't think on a assault mech you're gonna really notice that much. Like say the Highlander 733, it's a 2.31 change for like acceleration. You're really not gonna, and then turn rate 2.29. Yeah. You won't notice that much, but it will help. Don't get me wrong. Anything's better than nothing. But a lot of people probably won't even notice that.
Well, you're gonna definitely notice it on some of the mechs, like what I mentioned earlier with the ASUS. Which had a crazy increase in the arm speed. I can't find it right now on my list. But basically, the power fist becomes a lot easier to aim. Stuff like that is definitely gonna be noticeable.
And also the Raven. The Raven's getting crazy arm speeds now.
I'm gonna start taking out the Raven from now on.
Yeah,
every mech now is a Raven.
Hey man, you can now aim your ER large lasers a lot better now.
Up and down only.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. But but it's getting a change of 22 for the arms. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna. A lot of this is just small little increases across the board for most of the mechs that have been chosen. There are some notable ones yet. The Zeus arms agility greatly increased. Raven arms for some reason. The Atlas, as of course is the prime example, it's getting 22 degrees increase to its torso yaw, so it can twist 22 degrees more in a second. So that will help with its ability to shoot and then twist. It's at least a much bigger buff than the other 100 tonners who are getting something like 2, which is hardly noticeable.
Oh man, and the Griffin. Oh my god, the Griffin is getting so many buffs. Sorry, like the Griffin 5M arm speed change of 34.
Yeah, I usually find that arms are so fast moving anyway. It's they're not lagging too far behind.
They're really fast moving mouse. I'm interested to see how it changes my playstyle on joystick.
True. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that you use a joystick. Yeah.
Joystick. Holy cow, dude.
And it's also getting torso turn speeds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be bringing out my Griffins on that one.
Yeah. There's other ones I mentioned to Larsh during our day yesterday. The the Javelin Hero. For no real reason has a much worse agility than the other Javelins. The other Javelins had okay agility before, and now it will be slightly less behind the other Javelins.
Slightly.
Oh man.
Yeah. Other things would be the Centurion. Only got tiny buffs to its torso yaw and pitch. We're talking like 9 extra degrees per second for the torso yaw. So you'll slightly be better able to torso twist on the mech that's not very good at torso twisting. And that's it. It didn't even get any agility buffs. Centurion's fine. It's only the torso that needed a
Solid
minor
mech.
buff.
Perfect.
Poor
It's the ultimate mech. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to mess around with this, go ahead and see what I like, what I don't like. But like, to tell the truth, I'm not going to notice a lot of these mechs. I won't notice the difference. I mean, really, I really will not notice the difference unless it's like something major. And I'm used to playing a mech before.
Like
The agility values. The agility values were always rather conservative, and their changes are always quite conservative, including this one. So it makes them slightly better, but it's still everything is still on average quite sluggish. So yeah, it's nice, and I somewhat approve the direction. I'm very sad the Vindicator is not here, particularly the 1R.
The Vindicator.
That mech is just too OP. It never needs buffs. It just needs more and more nerfs. Thanks PGI.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, like, unless you're a person that crunches numbers over this game constantly, you're gonna notice. But for like an average player like myself and others, I appreciate the direction, kind of like how Byter said. But I mean, like, I'll take any bit of change.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'll probably just go through the ones that I play mostly, which are like the Griffin. I'm definitely gonna want to, check out the high there, and maybe the Fafnir to a point, but it's probably not gonna be a whole lot of a difference. But I think I'm just gonna just cherry pick the ones that I use for the most part.
Yeah. It might be worth at least the PTS.
The Nova gets about as much as the Centurion, Larsh, so don't be too excited there.
Oh well.
Not
surprised.
Some changes like the Atlas at least is quite good for its viability, because the Atlas really struggled after the engine desync. I still don't think it saves it, but now if you really like your Atlas, it's mildly better in the PTS.
One thing I do not like about this whole thing is that it does show bias towards the clans, because the clan one, if you notice, it has orange and little black lines, and the IanDresarie one looks like crap. Sorry.
I had to see where you were going with that. I was like, what are you talking about? Okay.
I bet this is a difference between older and newer tables.
Yeah,
probably.
So. But yeah, I won't notice difference. Just like what Larsh said.
A funny thing, at least with this mobility change, unlike the Heat one, is it's almost feasible that this could go live in the patch. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because the PTS is finishing before the patch comes out. So they'll be able to, if they see, oh, hey, yeah, this is getting the results we wanted. The Atlas is suddenly kicking ass again. Let's put it in the game.
I would think they'll actually want to go crunch numbers a little bit more out of all three different PTS things, and kind of go, okay, here's what we're going to do, and then they'll have like one more PTS, and this is the test. This is like the last test of it, and then they'll crunch numbers a little bit more, and then they'll go and put it like out like for a patch, say like in December or something like that. I don't think they'll like jump this out really quick though.
The heat changes will certainly take a while because well, I have to wait and see how it actually plays, but it's a big change to the game, and you want to ease the community into that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like taking away their candy bars. Oh my god.
I am with Byter though on the mobility changes. I do feel like those are well thought of for the most part, and I can totally see those going live either this patch or next month.
I wouldn't mind it. I should be fine. Basically that would just make it so much better. So, I mean, I would say, cool, do it, man, do it. Not bad. So, anything else on the docket here?
No, that's pretty much it.
No, that's it. Okay.
I mean, I've got a technical complaint. PTI, if you're listening, could you do me a personal favor and share this as a spreadsheet rather than a PDF so I can filter it? Please.
Yeah, like make it like an actual like Excel spreadsheet, so we're not having to scroll.
If you're sharing it like this anyway, then I mean, do a spreadsheet, please.
I have one more thing too. Fill in the planets with descriptions, please. You'll make the game so much better.
Faction warfare. Please put in descriptions.
Yes, that'll make it so much better.
Oh hey, whoa, guys! There are Twitter updates on Mechwarrior Online.
Oh, hold on.
It's a countdown to Vulcan release. Looks like they put up some screenshots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. It looks about as dumb as I thought it would.
breaking news here. The first
Breaking
news, the
we're
Vulcan is
recording it.
Oh, God.
You know what? In some ways, I love stupid, chunky, odd-looking mechs. This is kind of up my alley. I just wish it was more interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I love things like the Bushwhacker and the Mistlinks, where they're just little balls of metal. This one legit is if you just put a like soccer ball on top of a mech and give it a few laser hard points.
Just to respond to an early point by Ian about them uploading it as a spreadsheet, I'm wondering, like, you would imagine it should just be copy and pasted to a separate spreadsheet somewhere and just let people look at it, but they might not necessarily want people to see their formula for calculating acceleration, deceleration, all that stuff, because oh no, people see under the hood.
I mean, that's totally fine. I just expect them to copy those three crap. How do you
But
call
you just
the
want them to
vertical?
copy the
vertical
value,
thing?
right?
I just want those three values, basically.
Yeah,
Not the
you
whole
just want the
spreadsheet.
values. You don't want all the calculations, but
And as far as I remember, Excel does have that option to just copy the values rather than the formula.
I'm pretty sure there should be a way, but there's sometimes, at least with them being kind of rushing things out or whatnot, they have a system and they're sticking with it.
True. All
I
right,
don't
guys.
think they can change it either. So it's done. It's done. Basically, they can change minor, tweaks in the game, but that's
It
about
requires too much effort.
it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know the Vulcan.
It looks like a baby between a Piranha and a Nova Cat. So basically, what we thought it would look like.
I kind of like the hard points for the torso. Like
it's kind of cool.
They're almost cockpit level ish. Especially the first one there's pretty sweet actually.
As I've been saying, we just have to wait to see the quirks they've been giving it. And as I've been saying, we've been mocking it, probably not that many sales, so they just give it awesome quirks.
Okay.
40%
Do that for all the initial mechs now.
If they give this thing stupid, amazing quirks, and this first screenshot has like 4 laser hardpoints right by the cockpit, that could be pretty mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at me. I've got 4 medium lasers with like 50% cooldown, but now with the heat changes, I can only fire twice.
Well.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. So, Ian, do you want to go ahead and roll us out?
If you really want me to.
Put us in the cart.
Yeah. People listening, you have been listening to the First Circuit Podcast, episode number 52. We thank you very much for you being here and say goodbye. That is Byter,
Lark.
Larsh,
Bye.
and then old Bob.
Boy, he's really going. Bye. See you later.
And of course, there's me, Ian. Goodbye, everyone, and see you around next week.